Good afternoon from Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, where the Navy Midshipmen welcome in the resurgent USF Bulls and a clash of contrasting styles between two first-year head coaches. Welcome in, everybody. Jordan Kent, honored to be alongside three-time Super Bowl champion Randy Cross. And Randy, USF, how about their offense this season? They are young, they are explosive, they're led by Byron Brown, who leads the nation in rushing yards at that quarterback position. It'll be a test for a Navy defense that hasn't given up a single point at home this year.
Well, it's gotten to the point now where every week you expect to see the term dual threat around a quarterback, and you get it in this Byron Brown. He can run the ball really effectively. He's very strong, so watch him breaking tackles. But last week he exploded. He hadn't had these kind of numbers or anywhere close to it until last week. He got several Player of the Week awards, and this guy is a leader. And that's one thing that you talk to the coaches, they emphasize that. He's there week in, day out. He's always there.
The coaching staff also talks about how tough he is and how well he looks like an actual runner when he has the ball.
Well, he's tough to tackle, for one thing. So he's strong. He loves to fight through those things. And you rarely see a quarterback that loves throwing deep as much as this guy, and he's very accurate.
The Navy defense, they have experience. They're going to have their opportunities to get after Brown here today as well.
Well, the Navy defense, since Brian Newberry got here a few years back, they are aggressive. They get up and they fake it and they don't come. They get up there and they fake it and they do come. But either way, they're going to be aggressive on all three levels. And when you do make mistakes, there's players like Ray Lane there to take the ball back.
Navy will have to do this without some of their leadership. Let's toss it down to Sheehan Stanwyck-Birch for more on that.
Well, guys, last week, Navy captain Lirion Murtezi announced his retirement from football on X due to a back injury. This is a huge loss for the Navy offense, as they'll miss his presence as center. Murtezi was granted the number 68 jersey this year in honor of the late David Forney, who was star offensive lineman here at the Academy, who passed away from cardiac arrest back in 2020. Offensive coordinator Grant Chestnut told us this week, though, that Murtezi has embraced his new role. He's taken the opportunity to be a student coach on the sideline and continues to inspire and lead this team.
We mentioned two first-year head coaches. Brian Newberry spent the last 4 seasons as defensive coordinator. He has stressed trying to get back to the fundamentals and get back on rhythm. And for USF, Alex Golesh, offensive coordinator at Tennessee last year, as the Volunteers led the nation in offense, trying to turn around this South Florida program. USF won the toss. They'll defer to the second half. Navy will receive, and that is Tyler Bradley. That'll let the kick sail out of the end zone, and that'll bring on Ty Lavatai in this Navy offense.
Yeah, the interesting thing for Navy and for their fans, this new offense. It's a spread option idea. Grant Chestnut, their new offensive coordinator, I guess the old saying is he's taught them everything they know. He just hasn't taught them everything he knows. And you would like to see, if you were Grant Chestnut, you'd like to see them throw the ball more effectively and more accurately. But as always, they've got an offensive line that comes screaming off the ball, and they love to run it. The difference is now it's multiple sets.
Daba Fofana in the backfield. As you see a shift on the line already, first play of the game. Quick handoff to the left side, scooted to the outside, finally brought down. And we've mentioned this defensive front for USF. They will certainly get after you, just a gain of 1. Look at the rest of the Navy offense. And really look at Alex Teska. Huge game against Memphis last week, a career-high 163 yards on 15 carries.
This roster, especially offensively, it's a work in progress. I mean, they have to see where they want guys, what they can do, and how they can use them.
A loss of 1 on that previous play. Teska in the backfield. Lavatai, pump fake. Rolling out to his right, deep down the field, it's open. But that right there, Randy, a couple of those big plays the coaching staff stressed, we've got to connect on those, and it was wide open.
Yeah, there's a couple plays a game that guys get wide open, and one thing you have to do, you have to be able to hit the wide open receivers, and that's something this team is, well, they've struggled with it really since Keenan Reynolds was a quarterback.
Lavatai, not enough mustard on that, and so that'll bring up 3rd and 11 And this is a situation that becomes a very difficult one for this Navy offense.
Yeah, it does, because they love to go for it on 4th, but it's got to be like 4th and 2.
Two receivers split out wide on both sides. Quick catch and throw by Lavatai, but quickly drug out of bounds. Almaris Brown, gain of 7.
Yep, so they'll have to punt this one. It's just far enough back. Good, effective first possession defensively for USF.
Riley Reithman out to punt to receive for USF. Sean Atkins, the team's leading receiver. High flying kick. Atkins is going to get a chance, drops it though. It's rolling towards the sideline. There's a pile near the ball. Navy seems to think they got it, and they do. So the special teams coming up huge early in this one. Rayon Lane on the recovery.
Well, one thing you don't want to be when you're a kick returner is indecisive. Looked like he couldn't quite decide what he wanted to do with it. It got down there, it gets down around your waist or so. Suddenly it's hitting you in the shins, and the ball is being ricocheted forward. Now the Navy midshipmen get the ball back. The brigade over there is going crazy. A lot of noise, a lot of jumping up and down. Composure by the offense, mandatory.
Fresh set of downs now for the Navy offense, and we have a whistle on the play.
They'll review that play.
Rolling on the field as the ball was touched and recovered by the kicking team. The previous play is under review.
All right, so our replay review booth will get some early work here, Randy, and we saw Rayon Lane come in and shove Atkins just to clear him out of the way to try and make some room to the ball, but as we said, a lot of congestion on that sideline.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Once the returner, so you watch right here, he goes to catch it, he drops it, he kicks it. Now he can be pushed. I mean, now it's the lid's off. That's not kick returner interference. That's just all of a sudden now you're playing defense.
Is the question whether or not Navy was able to stay in bounds while they recovered that fumble? Because you see a couple of members already out of bounds, depending on who got a hand on it.
Where was the recovering player? Where was the ball? There it is right there.
That is going to be close. It was ruled Navy ball on the initial call. We saw Lane almost get knocked out of bounds as he was scooping it up by his teammate.
Well, you saw his upper body, his left shoulder and arm end up out of bounds. When does he get possession? Does he have it right there? Yeah, that end zone view was the best view of that recovery. Watch this again. Now
left
stop
shoulder.
it. Right there. See, now there's the ball. What's going to happen with the ball? Is it recovered? Where's his left elbow? Where's his left shoulder? Does he have it?
After further review, the ruling on the field of the kicking team recovering it inbounds has been confirmed. First down, Navy.
So it is Navy ball, and the muffed punt makes up for the missed opportunity they had on second down. And now Navy on the 18-yard line in the red zone. The full playbook available to them. Fofana and Teska, both in the backfield. Quarterback keeper for Lavatai. Not much going. Let's go ahead and check out this USF defense. And this is a defense that was completely remade in the transfer portal. They brought in a lot of experience, guys that Golesh had recruited earlier in the state of Florida, bringing them here, and they've already produced some results 4 games into the season.
And so far in this game, the emphasis is on eye discipline, and so far they're doing a really nice job of paying close attention. Number one job is always the fullback in this offense.
Hand off to Teska, trying to turn those legs moving forward, and stop short of the first down marker, gain of 7. Lavatai actually keeping it there.
Yeah, and the keys to the game, to me, it's eye discipline for USF. You've got to limit the number of 10-yard plus runs and 20-yard plus yard passes. For the Navy offense, something they so far have been able to. First time they had it, not so good. Right now, they're staying on the field a little bit more, but they're about staying on the field and keeping that dynamic offense of USF off the field.
3rd and 2. This time it goes to Teska, pinballing his way. Stopped short of the goal line at about the half-yard line. Gain of 9.
Yeah, no comparison here. It's great come off. Watch the offensive line just surge, cause a gash in that USF defense. Teska does a really nice job.
Watch the film on Teska against Memphis, and he is so explosive after that initial contact. Heavy formation, Lomatai going to try and keep it himself. That is touchdown Navy on the field, so the Midshipmen take the opening drive. And thanks to a special teams play, they're in the end zone for the first 6 of the game.
Yeah, it was an opening drive interrupted by a punt. They recovered that fumble, and then it was just the offensive line and good power running for the Naval Academy. And this is kind of the start that USF did not want to get off to. Their head coach, Golesh, wanted to get in this atmosphere and control the dynamic, control the momentum.
Nathan Kirkwood with the extra point, so Navy takes the 7-0 lead, taking full advantage of the fumble on the punt. The Midshipmen able to take the game's first turnover and turn it into 7 points. It'll be the USF offense on the field when we come back.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by The Exchange, welcoming home veterans to their exchange shopping benefits. By USAA, serving the military community and their families. And by Serve Pro, the #1 choice in cleanup and restoration.
A look there at Alex Golesh and Brian Newberry, both head coaches in their first season who paid their dues as assistant coaches before getting to the top position. I'll tell you what, the beard looks really good on Brian Newberry.
I mean, he was a park ranger, but he looks like a park ranger.
2 of 4 first-time head coaches in the AAC. Jaden Alexis to receive for USF. Stumbles to about the 21-yard line where the Bulls will finally take over on offense. 19-yard return. And our first look at one of the most electric young players in the country, Byron Brown. The numbers this season, but the week he had last week against Rice. Most yards put up by any player in football this season, 517 total yards.
And if USF has their druthers, you're going to see as fast an offense as far as alacrity and getting into the huddle, out of the huddle, onto the ball, and going as any team in the country.
Here's Brown, dumps it off to Naquan Wright, who rushes towards the sideline. Gain of 4 as we check out the USF offense and a pair of receivers, Randy, that are really paving the way for this offense.
Yeah, they really are. Simmons had a career type of a day last week. Over 200 yards receiving on only 8 catches.
Hand off inside, and the stout defensive front for Navy to keep that ball from moving forward. Colin Ramos in on the stop. How about this Navy defense? We talked about the experience at every level, but really a lot on the linebackers and how fast of a pace that USF goes. Quick strike to the outside. Catch is made, but short of the first down marker.
Yeah, it's going to set up 4th and short. Don't be surprised. They're just going to set right up here and go.
5-yard gain brings up 4th and 1. Here's an opportunity for this Navy defense to stonewall the Bulls, and we'll see if it's enough. And already 2 huge plays on special teams and on defense as Navy will stop USF short.
On the field.
If it's close, it's only close because of the late surge. Because early surge was all Navy defense.
Correction.
And it was short. They're giving the ball to Navy.
That was both Will Harbor and Colin Ramos plugging all the gaps. It wasn't a face mask, but that was Ramos getting his right paw on the helmet of Brown.
You see that surge, the blue surge underneath the white jerseys. That was just a a function of leverage, and all the leverage was on the Navy side. USF is a good-sized offensive line. I mean, they've got some 300-plus, 320, 330, 340 size guys, but if you're going to be high, it negates a lot of the advantage you get from that size.
Nearly 5 minutes into this game, USF has only ran 3 offensive plays. This is a team that runs 84 per game. The pitch outside. Chapman sheds a tackle, finally tripped up. Gain of 5 brings up second down.
You got a bull down on the field.
That's Day Evans, the heart and soul of this USF defense. He's a nation in tackles for loss.
He really is. I mean, he had that great game against Alabama. He was one of the national players of the week. Off that with 3 sacks.
We'll step aside and give you an update on Day when we come back. Good to see Day Evans up and the training staff was looking at the right shoulder area. Here's one more look at the injury, Randy.
Well, he comes over the top, and that momentum kind of throws him, and then that right arm and right shoulder comes slamming down onto the field. No telling what exactly that was, but from his look on the sideline and the trainers taking care of him, he'll be probably back next play. That is one tough dude.
A huge loss if he did have to step out of the game, because he leads the country in tackles for loss this season. Also leads his team in sacks, had 3 of them against Alabama. They have a lone back, gets the handoff, quickly swallowed up by this USF defensive front. This Williams in on the stop.
Yeah, when you're facing this offense, number one thing you zero in on is you zero in on the fullback. If you can't stop the fullback, that's all you're going to get the whole day. So far they've done a pretty effective job most of the time.
3rd and 4.
You've got 2 plays here. You'll go for it on 4th if you get close.
Time to hand up. A burst up the middle, spinning around inside the 5-yard line. Daba Fofana, gain of 15.
Yeah, this option offense can be tough to sort of keep track of the ball, but Dabo Fofana had that thing from the jump. Great blocking up front, really effective blocking, especially in the middle by Self, who's in the game for Mertezi.
Tom Hall also getting a key block in that play.
Full house backfield.
Lavatai keeping himself and into the end zone for his second rushing touchdown of the game. 4-yard score, and Navy now with 2 scores. Lavatai coming into this game hadn't rushed for a single touchdown. Now he has 2 of them.
That is just crazy effective. And you know why it's crazy effective? That offensive line, that left side of the offensive line, almost every one of them scored with their man. And when I say scored with their man, they took them from the 3-yard line into the end zone.
Nathan Kirkwood to make it a 14-0 Navy lead. 8:54 left here in the first quarter. 4 plays, 30 yards. We have a flag on the play here. Couldn't ask for a better start if you're Navy, though, at this point.
It's something they haven't had very much of in the last year or 2 at home. To get this kind of a momentum start at home gives you a huge amount of confidence. Then you finish the deal off by all that effective blocking and really crisp, efficient running of your offense.
Illegal substitution. Defense, 12 on the field at the snap. That penalty's decline. Result of the try is good. Timeout on the field.
It started with the 4th down stop by the Navy defense, and capitalizing once again with the ball deep in their own territory. Ty Lavatai punching it in from 4 yards out to give Navy the 2-score lead. In today's installment of Navy's Greatest Legends, brought to you by The Exchange, we take a look at Malcolm Perry. Perry led Navy with 188 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns as the Midshipmen cruised to a 35-3 victory over USF. Much like back then, today, another Navy quarterback having success against USF. 14-0 lead, 2 touchdowns for Ty Lavatai. Most importantly for this Navy offense, they have kept the ball out of the hands of the USF offense. Just 3 plays so far in this game for the Bulls, when they normally average 84 plays per game.
On that last touchdown, Navy almost took a page out of the Philadelphia Eagles playbook with that power backfield kind of look to push behind the quarterback.
Kirkwood the kick, Jaden Alexis to receive again, right up the middle, brought down at the 30-yard line. Let's go ahead and check out that last touchdown. What did you see here, Randy?
Well, you got to look at 2 layers. The first layer is back here. Look at the running back. The second layer is the offensive line in the middle. Those 3 guys in the middle. Watch everything go this way with the push. Beautiful job. I mean, that's called scoring with your man. Just taking a guy and putting him on his back in the end zone, and you got that push coming right behind Lavatai. It is just like what the Eagles do with Jalen Hurts in this goal line situation.
Weston Wolf, the tight end, goes in motion. The handoff to right. Trying to go on the left-hand side of that offensive line for a gain of 5. Justin Reed in on the tackle.
Well, if you're Alex Golesh and USF right now, you want to really deep breaths, calm, be efficient.
Right, another carry, but shot down, and that was coming downhill to make it a gain of 3. Williams Jr. for Navy.
He's going to set up 3rd and short. It's going to be a blitz here. At least they're showing blitz early on. And USF is showing they're not in any particular hurry. They want to be right rather than fast.
Plenty of time on the play clock. Brown, after making the adjustment, keeps it himself, fires it outside. Quick little hitch route, and that is caught by Naeem Simmons. Good for the first down.
And there's a lot that goes into this, running the formations quickly. You see the way Naeem Simmons ran the ball in, gave it to the official, went right back to his spot. That's just part of running quick like this.
And the receivers always stay on the same side of the field. You don't want to waste any extra time crossing the field here. Brown, time in the pocket, dumps it off. Nice catch made. It's Simmons again, twirling around until finally tackled near midfield.
Nice composure by USF. I mean, really, there's a lot of reasons at 14-0 you would get a little flustered at this point. But Byron Brown, the quarterback, good composure. The entire offense has got good composure.
9-yard gain. Brown slides, and here comes the flag. There was a lot of contact right as he was getting ready to get to the ground.
And there was a lot of contact up high.
Yeah.
Granted, he was sliding, but he took a pretty good shot in the head, I think.
Colin Ramos, part of 3 defenders. It almost seems like the Navy defenders, a little friendly fire right there.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as he starts to slide, the ball's marked.
After the play, personal foul. Defense, number 44. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Personal foul called on Ramos, and for a team that is just 2nd in the nation in fewest penalties, already picking up one.
And it's just a matter of safety, because you can't defy gravity, you can't defy physics. The play is going, you're being aggressive. You can't suddenly stop your body in midair.
Juan Powell in the backfield, fakes the handoff, the dump off to Wolf, the tight end, as he scurries his way near the 30-yard line. 3-yard gain. We talked about the contrasting styles. USF averaging 20 more plays per game than Navy, finally getting into a rhythm offensively. Here's Brown trying to go across the seam. Joffrey Brown making the catch, and USF is knocking on the door.
Now you see why USF loves this young quarterback so much. That was just a flick of the arm, right over the middle, 30 yards.
First and goal, Powell can't quite muscle his way in.
Excellent job protection-wise. Nice pocket formed. And that thing was on a rope. Now you have a size advantage. You got to take advantage of it and use your power.
2nd and goal. Wolf now moving to the left-hand side of the formation. Brown keeping himself the slant route in for the touchdown. Ball's bobbled, though. Officials rule it a touchdown, though. Sean Atkins making the grab.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown.
From a chemistry standpoint, Brown and Atkins have been together the longest, so they've got more of a simpatico going. That was a catch from the jump, but that initial rip out by Lane doesn't happen until after the catch. That's why it was ruled a touchdown on the field.
John Cannon for the extra point to cap off an 8-play, 70-yard drive. And what a response from USF. After stubbing their toe a few times to begin this game, the offense gets onto the field, they get rolling, and the Brown to Atkins connection makes it a 1-score game. Thank you, USF switching to the Atkins diet to fix their offensive woes. They finally get on the board. An excellent 8-play, 70-yard drive in which Byron Brown goes 7 for 7. And you said it, Randy, these high-paced offenses, when they get on rhythm, they are a thing to marvel at, especially Brown. He looked like he was in total control.
Total control. And that's the thing. You can look like you're rushing. There's no rushing to what they're doing. They're just going fast.
Farrell with the kick, touchback, and let's go ahead and check out the miscues we've seen so far from USF early in this one.
Well, it started with that punt that was muffed and then kicked and then fumbled, and that 4th down stop that set up the other touchdown for Navy. So Navy gets off to that quick 14-0 lead, and then USF has that excellent answer with that last drive.
We discussed time of possession being so critical coming into this one, and already this offense capitalizing on the 2 turnovers, 14 points already at their average for the season. We still have 3 quarters to play. Fofana, Teska in the backfield. Another pile right at the line of scrimmage. Gain of 2. Armed Forces football is proudly supported by the Exchange. Randy, so far we've seen a lot of shifts at the line of scrimmage pre-snap from Navy, and we've talked about how aggressive this USF defense wants to try and beat today.
And here's a conventional triple option style formation, which you haven't seen that at all today so far.
The handoff and quickly brought down. That was perfectly read as Chapman gobbled up. Loss of 2 for Navy.
Was that ball ripped out initially, or was it ripped out after the contact and it got to the ground? That'll be the question. USF has their opinion, obviously.
Might be biased. DJ Harris.
DJ Harris came crashing down from that top of the screen, outside defensive end, outside linebacker position. Just took Hassan down immediately.
There's the transfer from Texas. Coaching staff talked about he would play a huge role in this game here today. So 3rd and 10 for Navy. USF trying to force a 3-and-out here. Lavatai keeps it himself, but short of the 1st down marker. Gain of 8. That'll bring up 4th and 2. Jalen Stokes in on the tackle.
You know, you might think about it, but backed up like this with a little early momentum, smart move to go ahead and punt this ball right here. That was very well blocked. Just a little bit too much to chew off with the initial plays backing you up.
Reithman to punt. Atkins back to receive. Bobbled the last punt. And Atkins with the fair catch, and USF will take over here in just a moment. Well, last week versus Rice, USF wide receiver Naeem Simmons had a day to remember. Simmons hauled in 8 catches, a school record 272 receiving yards, and a touchdown. And that victory over Rice for USF, in fact, it was their first conference victory in almost 2 seasons. And Simmons playing a huge role.
Yeah.
In fact, Coach Golesh talked about how he went by his room at bed check the night before and said, you're going to be poised for a huge day.
Yep. Yeah, we talk about quarterbacks dropping dimes all the time. That was a stack of dimes his day, the way he was throwing the ball to Simmons.
There's Powell. Carey moves the Powell forward, and for more on Simmons, let's toss it down to Sheehan.
Well, guys, I talked to Naeem earlier this week, and he definitely said that Golesh talking him up, giving him the confidence certainly helps him have a breakout performance. But he's got bigger goals to break this season. He wants to go for 1,000 yards and be an All-American. He's loved his transition from Wagner here to USF.
You know, it's so funny, Randy, because when the coaches were watching the Wagner film from last year, they said, who's that receiver? Don't worry about him, he transferred. Well, he transferred to USF. They're going to face him in a couple more days.
Yeah, Golesh has got a nice relationship with Simmons. He just says they didn't say so much to him last week, but he looked at him a lot.
3rd and 3. Powell still in the backfield. 2 receivers on each side, split out wide. Call coming in from the sidelines. 7 on the play clock. Brown flushed out of the pocket. Brown has to dump it off. It's Powell in open space, avoids the tackle. And an excellent one-on-one move keeps the drive alive for USF.
Yeah, missed tackles are always just so critical for this Navy defense. There's a great example. You miss a tackle and it's 15 yards down the field from that spot of the missed tackle.
Gain of 13. That was Xavier McDonald that had the first shot at it. The patience by Brown going across and right off the fingertips of Joffrey Brown. And nothing but green grass ahead of him.
Well, Ray Lane got his hands on that thing too, trying to cut underneath it.
Rayon Lane, the free safety, had a chance to transfer to a multitude of programs, but instead decided to stay at Navy because of the culture. His hustle on that play forces the first incompletion of the game for Brown.
And it's kind of I guess a testament to the Navy defense and the way that they play and the way they attack that USF hasn't thrown the ball down the field. They haven't gone for any of the deep home run balls yet with maximum protection.
Atkins in motion, Michael Dukes, pass protection. Brown going deep up top, and his receiver, Jaden Alexis, lost track of it.
Well, really nice job of pass protection. The offensive line did a good job. Running back did a good job of blocking on the blitzer. So Brown had a chance. If he throws it out in front of the receiver instead of out on the left side like that, he might have a touchdown.
And you see him tapping the chest, my bad. He wanted to keep that inside the hashes. Instead, goes towards the sideline, brings up 3rd and 10. Pressure coming, picked up, Dukes. Again, another miscommunication as that sails out of bounds, and that'll force USF to punt it here.
Yeah, but last week, I mean, against Rice, Brown kind of called his own number in the second half. He said, look, we'll maximum protect, and we're going to push the ball down the field. Navy doing a good job of getting in there and getting some pressure on him, but he had the time, and he had open receiver.
It's interesting, you saw Ramos, his eyes on Brown right there. We've seen Brown stay in the pocket a lot more here today. Amin Hassan back to receive. Stokes on the punt. And a clean catch by Hassan, 37 yards as Navy will take over. Pace of play was so big coming into this one so far for Navy. You have to credit them, Randy, taking advantage of those 2 turnovers. But now what can they do on offense when they've got a longer field to work with?
Well, the number one thing, if you're Navy, you want to do here, and it's the same thing. It's been like this for the last 25 years since they started running this triple option. You want to be on the field, you want to be effective, and you want to run as many plays as possible.
Blake Horvath in at quarterback, the sophomore from Hilliard, Ohio. Navy will go through all three potential quarterbacks in this game.
Delay game. Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
See, there's one of your problems with personnel changes, especially personnel changes at quarterback. You first play, new guys in there. It only takes a couple of seconds of hesitation, and suddenly you're 5 yards back and you're 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 10.
And when you talk to this coaching staff, they were asking for Horvath to evolve from just running the offense, and already ball start out the gates. Handoff, turning forward. Let's go ahead and send it to the studio for an update on Georgia at Auburn right now.
Well, guys, Georgia is now trailed by double digits in the first half of each of their SEC games, down 10-0 at Auburn over on CBS.
So early deficits. And Jaquez Williams we see on the field right now with his helmet off, and so this has been the second shakeup for a defensive player for USF. Take a look at that left ankle, one more look.
Well, you look inside there, there's a lot of bodies getting crunched and a lot of bodies getting twisted and put in positions that don't look real natural, and that's when guys hesitate getting up and get those injuries, exactly what you're talking about.
They saw Sam Glover, number 75 for Navy, roll up on that leg, and clearly a lot of discomfort here for Jaquez Williams. We'll step aside and give you more when we come back. A look again at Jaquez Williams favoring that left ankle. Training staff was out there checking on it, got it rolled up upon on that pile. He tried to walk off on his own power, but clearly not 100% after that one, Randy.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad things happening in those piles, and it usually involves a limb sticking in the ground when the rest of you keeps going.
Williams, the sophomore from Savannah, Georgia. Brings up 2nd and 10. Fofana in the backfield. Here's another one of those pre-snap shifts we see.
Bouton and Self and Pena inside. It's incumbent upon them.
Lavatak. Make that Horvath rolling to the left and nearly intercepted. That was Daquan Evans getting back on the field. Day nearly picking it off, and already for Horvath, you've got a false start penalty and a near interception.
Yeah, Daquan Evans, he was making the turn. He was rounding off to pick that ball off and then wasn't able to catch it. See, he's running right there. He's getting ready to go. Problem was he couldn't keep going because he didn't catch it, but that ball was thrown right where it should not have been.
3rd and 10 for Navy. Horvath in the shotgun. Horvath stepping up, hot pursuit, nothing going there. So the USF defense puts a lid on it again, just a gain of 2.
Well, that's the problem with this new and improved offense for Navy. If you run on 1st down and you're not effective, then you run on 2nd down, or you pass on 2nd down and it's incomplete, then you pass again on 3rd down. You know, you're punting and you're not running time off the clock, which is one of their #1 goals in every football game, is to win the possession battle.
Reithman, 3rd time punting today. It's a friendly bounce, and Atkins is going to try and scoop that up. Atkins going to try and go with it. It's got the edge, but finally taken out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. So USF trying to get that momentum going again on offense. 19 seconds left here in the 1st quarter, and early observations, Randy. Feels like the Navy defense did a really nice job taking away some of the big explosion plays. Now it's just a matter of USF continuing to calm down and capitalize on those opportunities they have.
Yeah, we've seen both teams have spurts of doing exactly what they want to do. Navy being effective and, you know, ground-based with their offense. USF running the ball quickly, passing the ball efficiently.
Brown hands it off to Dukes. A little dance to the outside, but that is Harbor on the tackle, along with Ramos. They'll most likely let the clock run out before the end of the first quarter here. They're going to get one off. Shades of Green Bay and Detroit, possibly. That clock winding down before the end of the quarter. And your first quarter score after the gain of 3, Navy with the 14-7 lead. Take one more look here.
I tell you what, watch the clock. That's 0, and the ball hasn't snapped. I think they got one there. And I believe that's what Brian Newberry wanted to make the point to the officials. 0-1. Nope.
We'll see if the officials make an announcement on that one, but it's at 14-7 Navy after the first quarter. They capitalize on 2 turnovers. Crowd coming alive here in Annapolis. Second quarter action when we come back. Start of the second quarter in Annapolis. Navy leading 14-7. Let's take you down to the field where Sheehan caught up with Coach Golesh.
Coach, Navy got off to a fast start. You guys made some adjustments. What's the key to slowing them down?
Well, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. You know, we put the ball on the ground. There's a possession. We talked about possessions being absolutely critical. You see what happens when we get going with our tempo. We got a shot to go move the ball. So just can't shoot ourselves in the foot. And if we don't, we just got to keep playing the next play.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheehan. And Coach Golesh, exactly. Every possession so critical for this offense. You saw how quickly they're able to score once they didn't hurt themselves anymore.
Man here in the bottom of the screen, all by the lonesome.
Brown, the screen pass to the outside, and that is Simmons breaking a tackle, but wrapped up short of the first down marker. 6-yard gain.
He's going to set up short, 4th and short. Beautiful job of recovering by the second tackler because the first one missed.
Got both Wright in the backfield as well as Atkins. Handoff to Wright. He plunges forward. See where the officials will mark this one.
Well, it's going to be a first down.
Give it to him.
Yeah, it's right on there.
So second attempt on 4th down today is good, and already Brown gets a snap off, going across the field. Nice catch in traffic. Michael Brown-Stevens, his second catch of the year. 19-yard gain, and here is that rhythm we see from the USF offense.
They're going quick, and Brown's being accurate.
Wright tripped up, gain of a couple. Ramos in on the stop.
See, if you want to play a little game at home, watch the clock and see if they're getting it under 10 seconds. They've already done that several times today.
Back to Wright again, this time trying to bounce off the tackle, but Harbor doing an excellent job of just hanging on. 4 yards on that carry.
It's going to set up third and 4.
But you imagine 2-down territory for USF at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
So we have an injured Navy player on the field. Xavier McDonald. We'll step aside and give you an update when we come back.
And here's Xavier McDonald right here on a short list of guys that Navy can ill afford to lose. McDonald be on that list. Guys you don't want to have any kind of a significant injury. Kind of a leg whip that happens as you're going through there, and almost like he leg whips himself. Catches a little piece of his own leg. He got up and got off the field pretty well under his own power.
So you take a look at him on the sidelines right there. Now a huge 3rd and 4 for this Navy defense. USF really finding their rhythm here in the second quarter on this drive, picking up the pace. The Bulls 2 of 5 on 3rd down today. Wolf, the tight end, in motion. And that is Wright. Stop short. Will bring up 4th down. Loss of 1 here.
Yeah, really nice. It sets up 4th, and you might as well go for it on 4th. It's too far to kick a field goal. Your field goal kicker is not that strong from that standpoint. Go ahead and go for it.
We haven't seen Brown run the ball much. He leads the nation in rushing yards at the quarterback position.
Good time for a boot.
Ten on the play clock. Brown has time across the middle. It's Atkins with the snag. Atkins wrestled down to the 9-yard line by Williams, but a clutch 4th down catch.
Yeah, a lot of new bodies in the offensive line room, a lot of new bodies in the wide receiver room, but Atkins is one of the guys that's been there with Brown. You can tell they've got a real simpatico going.
23 yards on the reception for Atkins, and then capitalizing the drive, Aquan Wright punches it in from 10 yards out. USF just an extra point away from tying this game up.
Yeah, what a really nice job. Bowman and Herring and Lofton. Kilfoyle. They really did a really good job on that right side, just opening a huge hole in that Navy defense.
Here's Cannon. And that completes a 10-play, 67-yard drive. Took just 3 minutes and 10 seconds. But it was Atkins on 4th down to set up Wright from 10 yards out to tie this game up at 14 apiece. 12:09 left in the first half.
You know, I was right there, but you know, it's a game of literally inches. Like, you just got to make it. I know I won't make that same mistake.
Only 70 days to go in the countdown to the Army-Navy game presented by USAA. Make sure you tune in Saturday, December 9th on CBS Sports. And this rivalry can oftentimes be decided by just inches, as we heard Hall say. And plays like that Navy talked about.
It's the best rivalry in college football. And I know that offends a lot of people when you say something like that, but if you've never been there, you don't know.
Won't offend anybody in this stadium, as Bradley will let that ball roll out of bounds, and so a touchback as Horvath gets set to step onto the field, and this will be the second series we're going to see for Blake Horvath. And really, you mentioned it during the break, Randy, it's a very important drive here for Navy. They've gone 3 straight 3-and-outs when they've taken over in their own territory. How do they find their rhythm here?
Yeah, well, there's only one offense in this game right now that is kind of in rhythm and running sort of their style and doing their thing, and that's USF and Byron Brown, their quarterback. They're doing what they want to do. Navy is not, and they need to get at it now.
The handoff to Teska. Teska muscles forward, but quickly met. Nice gain to stay on schedule, 9 yards as Evans meets him. And how about the time of possession? USF all of a sudden catching up here in this one.
Just because they're going quickly doesn't mean they don't hold on to the ball some, and they've been very effective at that.
2nd and short. Horvath keeps it himself, picks up the first down. 5 yards on that one.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are wondering, you know, Lavatai was doing pretty good. Why isn't he still in the game? They don't have a guy at this point. There's no guy that is just declared he's the clear #1 quarterback on this team. So until somebody does that, you're going to see a combination of guys, and that doesn't speak well to the execution of the offense, generally speaking, but that's their reality. That's the world they live in.
That's what offensive coordinator Grant Chestnut was saying when we spoke with him. He wishes he could have a combination of everybody there. He loves the mobility of Horvath. 3-yard gain on that last run, but Lavatai has been limited with his mobility coming off that knee injury last year, missed all of spring ball, and they're excited about the freshman Braxton Woodston that looks the part for sure.
And that's the reality of running a option style offense, even if it's spread option. If you're going to run that style, you need a quarterback that strikes fear in a defense's heart. And right now, they don't have a quarterback that strikes fear in anybody's heart.
2nd and 8 for Navy. The quick handoff. Fofana. Mata'afa meets him after the gain of 4. Armed Forces football is proudly supported by USAA. 3rd and 4 on the 45-yard line. The
one thing for sure, in this style of offense, if you've got an offensive line that's being effective and efficient up front, and you got a fullback running the ball well, make a quarterback's job a heck of a lot easier.
Son comes down in motion, but the penetration from that front seven for South Florida limits that to just a 1-yard gain, and now a decision for Navy.
Yeah, when you start dodging people in the backfield, and you got people grabbing at the ball and grabbing at the jerseys, and they're a yard or two deep, that makes your efficiency definitely challenging.
So 4th and 3, Reithman coming on to punt. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I do. Your offense is just not 3 yards waiting to happen. It usually is, but right now, today, this is playing the percentages.
Atkins, who's had the hot hand on offense for USF, back to receive. He'll try to return this one. Gets an initial block. Atkins to the sideline. Nice little return. And some prime field position for Byron Brown on this next drive, but we have a flag on the play.
Penalty over there on the sideline. That's in the position of a hold or a push in the back. One of those gunners getting down the field.
See the officials having a conversation with Coach Newberry. Always so tough to make sure you get that clean block, especially when you're on the side of somebody on that punt and return team.
There are 2 fouls.
We know there's 2 fouls. We're just waiting on it. The drama is enticing.
You've
Randy.
got our attention. Are they offsetting? Are they on the same team?
I think that's what we're trying to figure out at this point.
There is no foul for illegal substitution. However, personal foul, illegal blindside block, receiving team number 54, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Amir whistled for the flag, and so that'll back USF back. One more look at this.
And that's something you see more often these days.
Timeout.
Right here, it just happened.
Media.
You get a block back like that, a blind side block where the guy never sees you coming. You're going to get a flag these days. That used to be just a film room explosion of cheers. Now it's a penalty.
USF will take it over deep in their own territory when we come back. Locked up at 14 apiece, 8:59 left in the first half. And how about we check out the day so far for Byron Brown, who spent most of it in the pocket here, Randy.
Yeah, he really has, and he's done a very nice, effective job throwing the ball. He's 11 of 14 passing for over 100 yards. And the part of his game that we have not seen is the legs. I mean, he's got 1 rush for 0 yards. So part of it is, you know, let's credit the Navy defense for kind of limiting what he can do when he's in the pocket. And the other thing is, it's part of Coach Golesh's goal, I think, is to keep this young man as healthy as possible, and limiting that running will be part of the ways of doing that.
1st and 10 from their own 12. Kelly Joyner in the backfield. Receiver tunnel screen on the outside, and quickly snuffed out by this Navy defense. But that's the note about Brown. 0 rushing yards. He leads the nation at 89.3 yards per game. And so is there anything you're seeing defensively from Navy that's helped put a cap on that?
Well, I mean, it's not like you haven't seen quarterback draws. You haven't seen boots. You haven't seen waggles. They're not trying to run him. They're keeping him in the pocket.
Brown again in the pocket, up top, it's Atkins, loses the defender. Sean Atkins all the way into the end zone, an 88-yard haymaker from USF as the Bulls take their first lead of the day.
Well, there's a great argument right there as to why you keep him in the pocket and let him keep throwing. This guy's got a real sort of combination, almost like a mental link between he and Atkins today. Last week it was Simmons. Today it's Atkins.
2 plays, 88 yards, 34 seconds. cannon to make it a 7-point lead for USF. And after being down 14-0, 21 unanswered for Alex Golesh and his team. But it's Sean Atkins, his second score of the game, to put him over 100 yards on the day already. We still have a lot of football left in the first half. The 88-yard strike to Sean Atkins makes it 21-14 USF. Coming up on the Ram Trucks halftime report, Brent Stover, Kevin Carter, and Danny Cannell will break down this game and get you caught up on other games around the country. It's all coming up on the Ram Trucks halftime report, and a couple games going on right now as we check out the AP Top 10 powered by Ram Trucks. Highlighted Georgia Auburn on CBS, tied at 10 apiece. We saw Utah falling to Oregon State last night. USC getting a close victory over Colorado in Boulder. So 21 unanswered points, 200 yards through the air already for Byron Brown, 13 of 16. This USF offense is rolling. Opportunity to return. Here's Bradley. With a little bit of a seam, breaks the first tackle. Takes it up to the 30. But let's go ahead and take a look at this last touchdown here, Randy, because Atkins was beyond open here.
Well, here's Atkins right here. You're going to see the first receiver is going to run right at the safety. Atkins is going to come here and then break underneath that. And when he makes that break, it's exactly as the quarterback goes to throw the ball. And as he throws the ball, there it is right there, right in the middle. He's wide open. Unless he bangs his head on the goalpost, there's nothing to stop him.
He catches 111 yards for Atkins. There's Navy an opportunity. Finally, a big chunk play on first down. Chapman getting the pitch. 19 yards on the gain.
Yeah, that's one thing with this Navy offense, especially on the outside. With their speed, they can just flat out outflank you at times.
Horvath still in the game. We saw 2 rushing touchdowns for Ty Lavatai. Has not seen the field in the last 3 series. Fofana, another big run, busted loose. Brought down near the 30-yard line. Back-to-back 19-yard gains.
Yeah, that's right there between Brent Self, the center, Joshua Pena, Bouton, the left guard. That's all the inside 3 of Navy, just doing a great job of executing.
If Navy can score on this drive, go a long way towards seizing back a lot of the momentum they had early in this game.
And it'll keep their defense off the field. Did you get a quick motion? Yep.
Ball start. Number 83, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Cody Howard with the flag, and
again, out of character right there, that quick little flinch by Howard at the left tight end.
Plays wide receiver. You usually get those wideouts in a 3-point stance. We're uncomfortable there. I'll tell you that much. We don't like holding our water for that long.
Especially the ones that are quote-unquote wide receiver / tight ends.
Fofana the carry on 1st and 15. Gain of 2. We'll go back to this defensive front for South Florida. We've got transfers from TCU, Minnesota, Texas. I mean, they really had to work the transfer portal to completely reshape this USF defense, and coaching staff has been so pleased with the team's effort through 4 games. That's the thing that really makes it happen.
I mean, when you get, what, 38 transfers, you've done a nice job of remolding your roster and remolding your starting lineup.
Timeout on the field.
Navy will take their first time out of the half. 30 seconds.
In celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, the city of Annapolis has raised the flags of Latin American and Spanish-descended countries along Main Street for the 4th consecutive year. The The initiative motivates many families living around the area to spend time in historic downtown and take a photo next to the flag of their country of origin. CBS Sports celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month. Navy trying to end September with a record of 500 or better. It'd be the first time since 2017. And just getting off to a good start for the season. You've got a first-year head coach in Newberry. Obviously, he's familiar with the program, but made some tweaks to the offense and trying to button up a few more things defensively.
Well, when you start changing systems, you have to also, there's a corresponding change of personnel that follows that and probably lags by a year or two. So you're looking at a year or two before the systems run like it really should be.
Fofana trying to muscle forward. Jalen Schuler in on the stop, a 1-yard gain. He's up 3rd and 12, the USF 33.
Warren, the field goal kicker, this is right on the edge of his capabilities. It's about a 50-yarder from right here. And this is definitely not go for it on 4th down unless you get down to about 4th and 1, 4th and 2.
And that's the challenge. We saw back-to-back 19-yard runs. Horvath hasn't had much of any success through the air here so far today. Horvath keeps it himself. Scrambles forward until he's met, but a tough run by the sophomore quarterback. A gain of 8 brings up 4th and 4.
Well, if you have faith in your field goal kicker, you go for it and you kick a field goal here because it's a pretty good chunk of real estate. Maybe you try to draw him off, but going for it on 4th down here, I don't know. If you're just flat out saying we're going for it here, this is a heck of a roll of the dice because you're giving this offense with about 4:45 to go, the ball back with pretty good field position.
Fofana, Teska in the backfield, Hall in motion, the handoff, and that is to Fofana, and he'll be stopped short. Just a 1-yard gain. So after finally getting a little momentum on offense, it comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You're talking about a 43-yard field goal. I don't know why you don't kick a field goal there and take those points.
So the USF offense getting back on the field as their defense buys them another critical possession.
Well, you came into the game worrying about the combination of Brown and Simmons, who had such a big game last week with all those yards and all those awards that both players got. Well, that's not the case today. The problem is a whole different kettle of fish.
Brown fakes the handoff, lollipops it to the outside. That was almost intercepted. Luke Puris. One more look, little tap on the head. That's just a love tap from Justin Reed. Ooh, but Simmons that almost had it.
Yeah, that ball was available. Let's put it that way. Didn't get a whole lot of pepper on that thing.
7-yard gain for Joyner. Brings up a manageable 3rd down. Still 0 rushing yards for Byron Brown, who leads the country in rushing yards, and the ball is stripped by the Navy defense. Ball on the field. Navy has got it. So Jordan Sanders and Luke Puris in on the defensive stop, and exactly what this Navy offense needed at that moment.
You've got the ball back in the pocket. Watch his right arm. He wants to throw it, and the ball is stripped out of there. Protection has been there. The protection has been perfect. Protection actually isn't bad. It's just they're able to reach in there and knock that thing out.
Xavier McDonald, one of the leaders of this team, got his mitt in there to pry it free.
We saw him look like he had a little leg whip earlier and talked about how they can ill afford to lose him. There's a good example of why.
Teska on the handoff. Teska bursting forward. Bring up 1st and goal. Jalen Stokes in on the tackle. 16-yard gain for Teska.
And when you're running good with your fullback, you're running good with your fullback because your center, Self, Pena, the rest of the inside part of that offensive line is creating holes, big holes.
Boy, I tell you, Randy, Teska, as soon as he gets that rock, he is just off and going. You saw the 163 yards, his coming out party last week at Memphis. Go to Teska again, this time met by a wall of defenders. Brings up 2nd and goal, Jonathan Ross.
It's an interesting combination of skill sets you need for these backs in this new style of an offense. It used to be the fullback was in the starter's blocks, and it was like a sprinter. He was just going as fast as he could straight ahead. Now you're getting a set step, a cut in, a lot of different approaches for these running backs. And I think it's necessitated a different skill level. That's why you've seen some different players, Fofana and Teska specifically, doing different jobs. But power look again.
2nd and goal. A lot of bodies in that pile. 2-yard gain. Brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, Ty Lavatai basically led his way through there on a couple of his big runs earlier, and Horvath there hesitates and then went behind the blockers. A little bit different approach.
2 rushing touchdowns earlier for Lavatai. 3rd and goal. Horvath tries to keep it again. Pinballs around, brought down short, brings up 4th down. So what do you do here?
Well, just me, but I kick a field goal. Kind of like I would do back there instead of going on 4th down. But don't be surprised if Navy goes for it here on 4th down.
So timeout, USF. Keep in mind, Nathan Kirkwood has been doing the majority of the kicking here today for Navy. Sophomore from Greencastle, Pennsylvania. So 2:01 left. If you're Navy, you're knocking on the doorstep here. You've scored a couple of times already with Lavatai. Just 7 yards passing. You put Lavatai back in the game here.
I'm a big believer in don't mess around with exchanges, center quarterback exchanges. I think doing this in the middle of a big spot like this in the middle of a drive is asking for a ball to get dropped on a snap. I think Horvath started it, Horvath finishes.
We've seen Teska with a lot of success getting through that initial line, but you saw the extra beef that USF brought out there. Doug Blue Eli, 320-pound nose tackle. Trying to be the low man here, number 13.
We'll see that power look again. 3 running backs behind the quarterback.
Here it is, 4th and goal. Expect a pile of dust as Navy tries to tie this up. Horvath escaping to the outside, dumps it off for the touchdown. Anton Hall able to spring free for the 2-yard touchdown completion.
Naked, a little quick naked boot there with a quick flip. Great call by Grant Chestnut and the Navy offensive coaches. Getting that play there on 4th down. Good execution. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't a spiral, but it was a touchdown.
5 plays, 22 yards. That is the 3rd turnover that has led to a touchdown for Navy today. So credit their defense. Remember, that was the strip on Brown. Kirkwood for the extra point. We've yet to see Evan Warren today. Bit of a false start, bad snap. And they just sandwich.
You can return this for points.
There they go, off and running. Jalen Schuler, and Jalen Schuler is going to put a couple more on the board for USF.
That's 2 for USF.
So you saw the hitch in Kirkwood. There was some type of miscommunication.
Well, anybody that's made a mistake in this game so far in this first half, it's resulted in points. And a bad snap like that, that's points waiting to happen.
That was Kellen Grave de Peralta, the holder that couldn't get to the ball in time. Cole Williams, your long snapper, and Jalen Schuler.
See, the problem with field goals and extra points is you don't have many athletes on the field. You usually have a kicker holding, you got a kicker kicking, you got a couple of backs on the edges, but other than that, it's offensive linemen, and none of them are catching somebody going that far.
No, you're not winning many relay races with that squad. And so USF all of a sudden maintains their lead. Navy had a chance to tie it up, but now both teams have had a special teams miscue that's led to points for the other squad.
Good play design on that touchdown, though, with that little reverse out. You reverse out, and he was getting the pressure coming off the outside on a blitz, but good composure of flipping that thing out there for the touchdown.
So Kirkwood now to kick off. 1:57 left here in the first half. Pivotal score for the Navy offense to keep pace here with USF. Joyner back to receive and just take a knee. Well, tomorrow, the Week 4 NFL on CBS slate is headlined by a can't-miss matchup in Buffalo between two of the top teams in the AFC when Josh Allen and the Bills take on Tua and the Dolphins. The NFL is on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. And speaking of the Dolphins, Randy, looked like sharks last week. 70 points against the Broncos. You see all the remarkable numbers there. They made it look easy.
Well, there's no coincidence that McDaniels came from the 49ers, because between Shanahan and him, those are the two most imaginative play callers. They use motion, they use formation, they use so many different things to distract the defense, and man, they distracted the heck out of the defenses last week.
The play calling prowess, something that Alex Golesh has also been able to match as he led Tennessee to the best offense in all of football last year. Gain of 4 on the carry from Powell. Williams in on the stops. 2nd and 6 here. Quick snap once again. Powell with his 2nd consecutive carry will bring up 3rd down. 2 yards for Powell. We have another Navy player, this time face down. I believe that's Clay Cromwell. I'll tend to him here.
You're getting ready for this 3rd down play. If you're the Navy defense, keep an eye on Atkins. If there's anybody, he's going to line up in a slot either on the left or the right. That's the guy they want to go to today. Yes, last week it was Simmons. This week it's Atkins. They run receiver, they run route combinations that will highlight their slot.
It looks like they're helping Cromwell back up to his feet here, the senior from Oxford, Mississippi. To your point about Atkins, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, 111 yards. But the 4th down catch he had to keep that drive alive for them was huge. And then, of course, the 88-yard backbreaker that gave USF their first lead of the game. Now, we've seen USF go for it on 4th down in their own territory. You think with 1:27 left, is that something they flirt with here?
Backed up like this with 1.5 minutes to go? I don't think so. I mean, if you're talking 4th and really short, I think you would think about it. But an incomplete here, no, you wouldn't.
Design keeper for Brown. He tries to get to the edge, and that's enough for the first down. 5 yards on the carry.
There you go, the first positive run we've seen out of Byron Brown.
That's something the Navy defense has completely taken away here in the first half. Brown has resorted to staying in the pocket. Does so here, rifles it. Shoffrey Brown with the catch. 8-yard completion. But those numbers with the running here, Randy, this is just not anything you would have anticipated coming into this game. 45 seconds left. Brown trying to go deep over the top. There's going to be a flag there, a hold on Brown. Yep. Deshaun Peel is in the trail position.
And I'm not sure if Navy's necessarily taken away the running of Brown. I think Golesh and USF has basically decided that Brown's going to be a thrower today, and he spent a lot of time with some great protection in the pocket.
There is no foul on the play. Third down.
So they take the flag off the field. No flag. What do you see here, Randy?
It's going to be right here at the bottom of the screen. See that little shoulder turn early on there, little tug? That's what the official deep who threw the flag must have seen, that shoulder turn, and thought it was a hold.
41 seconds left, 3rd and 3. Brown, he's looking for the screen, but he is quickly thrown down to the turf. Luke Paris in hot pursuit, a loss of 15.
Now 1,000% you credit the defense here on this blitz of being a matter that you just can't run. There's no way to escape from that. That is all over you. Good runner, strong runner, doesn't matter what kind of runner. You aren't going anywhere with that kind of pressure.
31 seconds, 3-1.
So timeout Navy. I'll give them 31 seconds, 4th and 18. Obviously punting situation coming up here for USF. So trailing by 3, you figure Navy wants a chance to at least flirt with field goal position.
Yeah.
They can get some of a return here.
You got a shot at getting the ball and getting it somewhere, let's say around near the 40-yard line, your own 40-yard line. So you're within 20, 25 yards of a possible field goal territory.
And you can imagine Golesh upset about that flag that was withdrawn. He felt like his receiver got held.
Well, he probably saw the same thing that deep official saw, was that shoulder turn on that little tug.
And that's all it takes. Throws her timing off by 1 or 2 steps, and Andrew Stokes to punt. Amin Hassan here to receive.
You got a few too many people moving at the same time, I think.
Offside. Number 14, defense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
That'll inch USF just a little bit closer.
And maybe affect the ultimate field position. Now you're looking at catching the ball around the 25-30.
The punt here for Stokes, you imagine, got to get a lot of hang time. Do not allow this to be a returnable ball.
The last thing you want is a flat ball.
And that goes off the side of the foot, it looks like, and ducks out of bounds at the 40-yard line. So Navy with 25 seconds left on the clock. And that right there falls into the file of some of the poor special teams play we've seen today. Let's go ahead and check it out after the 27-yard punt here in the first half.
Let's go down the list. We've seen a muff and a fumble on a punt return. We've seen a really bad extra point snap that resulted in a safety and an extra 2 points being scored. And this is it's Ryder Cup week and all that stuff. This is a shank. This last punt, that was dead right.
Yeah, it looked like the U.S. the first couple days of the Ryder Cup, they fixed things here today. I think going up 3-1 as Lavatai is now back in the game for Navy. Lavatai pump fakes, and that was nearly picked off. A dangerous throw with 20 seconds left near midfield. Braxton Clark almost got his mitts on it.
Braxton Clark just needed a little bit more oxygen. He made the turn around the receiver. He almost had enough space to get his hands on that ball.
Trying to go to Nathan Kent on that one. 2nd and 10 here for Navy. Lavatai keeps it himself. Ripped up at around the 47-yard line, 6-yard gain.
Now you'll run another play here. You can't relax if you're USF.
3 seconds left, and it looks like Navy will let the
do it.
clock run down. So Navy thought about going for it, trying to get into field goal range. No luck there, but it's 23-20 Navy at the half. The Midshipmen trail by 3 as USF and that offense starts to come alive. See into the first half. After the break, it's Brent Stover and the crew in New York. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network.
You are watching the Ram Trucks Halftime Report on CBS Sports Network.
Welcome into the Ram Halftime Report. Brent Stover in New York with Kevin Carter, Danny Cannell as well. Good ball game in the American in Annapolis, 23-20 USF. What are you seeing out of the mid so far, Kevin?
I'm seeing them trying to manufacture offense the way that they typically try to manufacture offense. 160 yards on the ground and winning the time of possession by 7 minutes. You got Dabo Fofana, you got Alex Tecca, and this young man, Ty Laventine, the quarterback, pushing their way through, invoking their will up front, taking control of the line of scrimmage, and trying to grind this thing out, although their defense isn't quite doing such a good job against the USF offense.
Well, last week, Bulls quarterback Byron Brown became the first FBS player with 500 total yards in a game this season. How is his encore going so far?
I tell you what, Brent, sometimes it takes that one game, that one big game to sort of build your confidence, and you can kind of parlay it in an entire season. And boy, that's what it feels like Byron Brown has done so far today. He's already got 211 yards in the first half, and he is absolutely dealing. There's a nice throw the first quarter. Then here it's find Sean Atkins on the outside for the big gain. That's an 88-yard completion right there for the touchdown. He has been absolutely on fire for the Bulls.
They got a 23-20 road lead at the break, trying to get to 2-0 in conference play.
23-20 USF, and quite the disparity between pass and rush yards so far.
Yeah, it's been a very balanced attack for USF. They've gone quickly. They've been effective. Navy's run the ball well, but so far haven't been able to throw the ball very effectively. But time of possession is on the Navy side, as you'd fully expect.
Jordan Kent alongside Randy Cross, and coming into this one, we saw a couple of early turnovers for USF. Navy was able to capitalize, but now that USF found some momentum on offense, you see why this is going to be such a difficult group to defend.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes have equaled points. Whether it was the bad snap for Navy that ended up being a safety the other way, or the fumbled snap, the fumbled ball on the punt that ended up being a touchdown for Navy. And watch that as the second half progresses. It's going to be the same thing. Whoever makes the mistakes are going to pay for it.
Let's get to our Serve Pro first responder. When disaster strikes earlier on for Atkins, you look for a response after that, and that's exactly what we saw on the offensive end.
Yeah, that was the Atkins plan, if you will. He went ahead and made that one mistake, but then it was two huge plays. That 80-some-odd yarder was a big one.
111 yards, 2 touchdowns. For more on this one, let's send you back down to Sheehan.
Well, guys, both coaches looking to limit those mistakes. Coach Golesh for USF says they have to limit the self-inflicted wounds. Byron Brown will continue passing. And then for Navy, Coach Newberry said that they've got to have longer sustained drives. They need to keep USF off the field and look for Laventine to start.
Thank you, Sheehan. All 3 scores for Navy, Randy, came off of miscues. So Alex Golesh realizes we can stop shooting ourselves in the foot. We're going to take away their scoring opportunities. Here's Brown, caught from behind. Colin Ramos chasing him down. Gain of 2.
And Ramos, nice job of getting to Brown before he could really get his momentum going. Good protection early on that broke down.
And another breakdown on the offensive line is that Navy front 7. Luke Paris, a loss of 5, and all of a sudden that puts USF on their heels.
Yeah, Paris and a little Ramos again, getting in there and being effective and attacking.
3rd and 13. Brown, time in the pocket, dancing around. Moving to his left and finally just level. So talk about a statement by the defense. Will Harbor, back-to-back losses, that time 5 yards negated.
And Brown getting up kind of slow. He took a pretty good shot there going to the ground. Keep an eye on that if you're USF.
There you see it, an awkward landing for Brown, and credit the coverage for Navy because Brown had time, just couldn't find one of his receivers.
And first possession for USF, Chris, is a non-issue because of Navy's aggressive defense.
Stokes to Hassan. Hassan has a chance. He's lowered at about the 40-yard line. Braxton Clark chopping him down, and the quarterback shuffle continues for Navy. Lavatai will now come back out onto the field after we saw Horvath play most of the second quarter.
And Navy had the ball for over 17 and a half minutes in that first half, and it's going to be Horvath to start off this second half.
It will be Horvath. So a little deception as far as the reports go sometimes from the coaching staff, but you're going to go with who's hot, and they want to see what Horvath can provide for you.
Well, you could rely on just the running, but in order to be the offense they want to be, they've got to be able to throw it, and they've got to be able to throw effectively and hit the open receiver.
Teska in the backfield, quick handoff to him, and you hand it off to Alex Teska. You're guaranteed 4 or 5 yards, it feels like. Gain of 5. And even though it wasn't a turnover, Randy, here is Navy with great field position, courtesy of the punt return. So the special teams and the defense has really been setting up this offense.
Yeah, with the negative plays on USF offensive side, it basically functionally was a turnover.
Horvath, the pitch outside. Able to escape to the edge. Brandon Chapman, gain of 3. Jalen Schuler in on the tackle.
Now, if you're the USF defense, the group you don't want to lose track of are what they refer to as the S-backs. You know, not necessarily those fullbacks, but those S-backs, because they can pop free, and they pop free earlier. That's who the wide open receiver was earlier.
Fresh set of downs. Ball on the 29-yard line for Navy. All in motion. Another couple-yard gain, and we go ahead and send it down to Sheehan for a report on Brown for USF.
Well, guys, they're working on Brown on the sideline. You see it in the chair right now. They've just cut through his leggings, or he's got a cut on his knee that is actively bleeding, and then he's holding on his right hand, nursing his finger right now. So they're getting him, trying to get him ready to get back in the game.
Thanks, Sheehan. It was a very uncomfortable fall. Took a lot of that force on that knee, and we'll see how fastly they can get him patched up. They are very confident in their backup quarterback, Bryce Archie, redshirt freshman from Powder Springs, Georgia, but would love to get Brown back on the field. His defense would love to give him the opportunity too. 2nd and 6. Horvath, the throw up top, has his man, but overthrown, and Randy, another wide open shot that Navy can't capitalize on.
Well, that's exactly what I was just talking about. You got to keep track of those S-backs. They can pop open the biggest, and both times we've seen wide open receivers getting missed, it's been Hassan being overthrown.
The number of hands on heads in the stands here after that incompletion, innumerable.
Yeah.
So
plus,
3rd and 6.
Plus 2 here in the booth.
So late substitution for USF defensively. That's Bluely trying to get onto the field. Hickman will step off. Horvath in the shotgun and blow the whistle on this one.
Navy will take their first time out of the half.
Navy calls timeout. But here they are knocking on the door near the red zone once again. They face a 3rd and 6 when we come back. 23-20 USF. Navy looking at a 3rd and 6 from the USF 25-yard line. Tonight at 8 Eastern, our gridiron coverage continues with some Mountain West play as Air Force looks for a 5th straight win against the Aztecs. Catch it here on CBS Sports Network. How about Air Force?
Whoa. 340 yards a game, and then on the other side, only giving up 62.
Air Force 4-0. We mentioned that 5th straight win over the Aztecs, trying to get to 5-0 on the year. So Navy out of their own timeout. Horvath keeps it, and Horvath trying to stretch for that 1st down marker. And you figure this is 4-down territory for Navy. Gain of 4, Stokes in on the tackle. So 4th and 3. Horvath stays in the game. Teska heads to the sidelines. Got 12 on the play clock, and they haven't even approached the line of scrimmage yet.
Close.
Fofana in the backfield. 5 on the play clock. Looks like they were just trying to draw him off sides.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
So Nathan Kirkwood will come out to kick. Evan Warren was listed as kicker #1 on the depth chart. We haven't seen him yet at all today. Kirkwood was practicing a couple right at halftime. I'd say he was about 50-50 on a couple of them right at this range.
Yeah. I mean, and that's been a strength of this Navy football team is consistency in these mid-range type field goals.
44-yard attempt. Make that 45, and for Kirkwood, straight down the pipes to tie it up at 23 apiece. So a positive special teams play for Navy. They notch it up at 23. USF on offense when we come back.
Welcome back to Annapolis, where Navy just tied this game up. Today's Stadium Spotlight highlights the Navy involvement in Kosovo. Atrocities committed by Serb forces under Serbia's Slobodan Milosevic against the Muslim citizens of Kosovo province prompted NATO to intervene in the conflict in Operation Allied Force. From March to June of 1999, NATO aircraft flew 38,000 combat missions during the conflict. U.S. and British submarines and surface ships operating in the Adriatic complemented the air campaign with Tomahawk cruise missile strikes. The military operation, combined with diplomatic pressure, economic sanctions, and the threat of a ground intervention into Kosovo, compelled Milosevic to submit. And for Navy Senior Captain Lirion Murtezi, this battle is extremely personal. Murtezi and his family are from Kosovo and fled the war-torn country to come to the United States.
Yeah, Sheehan, and it just meant so much to this team for what he was able to do early in the season, but then unfortunately has the injury that ends his career, but still very involved here, Randy, as the student coach and the heart and soul of this offensive line, and the fact that he's still pouring into his teammates says a lot about his character.
Yeah, it really does. And what an amazing leader. And when you're a leader at an academy like this, that says an awful lot about the quality of the person you're talking about. And Murtezi's as high quality as they come.
3-yard gain for Wright. That was Ramos in on the stop. Here's Brown back in the game, has time, uncorks one, and that's Simmons trying to make the acrobatic catch, but can't. But let's go back to Sheehan for more on Murtezi.
Well, guys, I talked with Murtezi before the game today, and he wasn't as good of spirits as you can imagine, realizing that he still had an important role with his team. And he said really his goal is just to kind of inspire the young guys, make sure that the energy's on the sideline, and to help his team any way he can. So an unfortunate end of his career, but he has done so much for this Navy team.
He truly has, and he's hoping that the encouragement can lead to another 3rd down stop here. Brown, 3rd and 7, up top. It's to Atkins, but Atkins hit before the ball gets there, and that is a clear flag. 1st down for USF coming up.
Yeah, that's a no-win situation if you're a defensive back and you get a receiver. I mean, you know, you played the position. You start slowing down, that defensive back has no idea. He is guaranteed to truck you.
Flag is on Deshaun Peel. Tough situation when it's underthrown like that.
There are 2 fouls on the defense. Illegal substitution, 12 on the field at the snap. That penalty's declined. Pass interference, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
How many critical plays has Atkins been involved in?
I was just going to say every single one, it feels like. And so on 3rd down, even though he doesn't catch it, he draws the flag and keeps the drive alive for USF.
And it tells you about the game planning and the nature of Coach Golesh's offense, that it can vary from week to week who's really going to be the featured guy. Last week it was Simmons. This week it is definitely Atkins.
Right in the backfield, Simmons last week 272 yards receiving. Today Just 23, and here is Brown snuffed out again. Donald Bernard Jr. for a loss of 3.
Yeah, the man they call Biscuit. Got himself a biscuit. Little sack.
About to say, it's almost supper time. It's time for some biscuits on the field here, and brings up 2nd and 13. Brown, long strike to the outside. Coming back to that one is Shoffrey Brown, putting together a nice game. Tackled about the 48-yard line by Lane. Gain of 8. Brings up 3rd and 5.
That right there is exactly what you want, Jordan. I mean, it was 2nd and long. You get about half of that back, and you set up 3rd and reasonable.
Here's Brown trying to go to Brown again. Defended on the sidelines as Andrew Duhart did an excellent job negating that.
You see a little wince there by Brown. He took a pretty good shot there at the end as he goes down. Harbor got a nice little contact on him. And as accurate as he was down the field last week, he doesn't have that same touch this week, does Brown.
You wonder if that's the pressure getting to him. Coming into this game, USF gave up 19 sacks. Navy has 4 sacks today. Here's Stokes to punt. Hassan to receive. Good hang time, fair caught. Called the 8-yard line, 44 yards on the punt, and the Navy offense will take over on their own 8 when we come back.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. By Ram Trucks, built to serve. And by Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
The sun is setting in Annapolis, and this game is heating up. 23-23. The Navy defense really coming alive here in the second half, Randy. They have put a stop to anything USF has tried to do, and now the offense try to respond here.
Yeah, critical possession here for the Navy offense. They've got to stay on the field and let that defense get some rest.
Fofana, Teska, the backs. Quick handoff as Horvath still remains in at quarterback. Just a gain of 1 as Fofana gets stopped, and we continue to credit this defensive front for USF and how quickly they've came together. Really done a fine job of stopping a lot of those interior runs.
Yeah, they've done a good job just specifically on the inside at defensive tackle, dealing with them inside.
It's Connor McMahon that's down on the field at this moment, so another player that will be tended to on both sides of the ball. You see the junior, 6'4", 279.
Left tackle. They rolled up on him. You can see 59 just basically rolled up on the back of his right leg.
Now this is an offensive line where they have 7 guys that will all roll throughout the game, so they've got some depth here. Obviously losing Mertezi was huge, but some young guys that have been able to play multiple positions, which you have to. You have to have depth on those lines.
You know, what really hurts them with Mertezi was the size. I mean, Self's 275, 280. Mertezi, 315-ish. And I mean, just a big, solid human.
Well, outside of Mertezi, not a single offensive lineman weighs more than 300 pounds. So everybody 290 or less, and got some athleticism, but you don't necessarily have the beef to match some of those nose tackles. Horvath keeps it himself, takes a shot. Coming in was Jalen Schuler that just planted his shoulder on the 17 on his chest. Gain of 2 brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, if you're Brian Newberry in this Navy defense, the last thing you want to see is a 3 and out and a quick punt for 2 reasons. One, you need your offense to stay on the field, and they're going to need a heck of a lot more points against this USF offense. But more importantly, number 2, your defense is going to start getting a little bit gassed spending this much time on the field.
3rd and 6. 2 receivers on each side split out. Horvath, the quick out. Dancing, trying to break the tackle. That was Anton Hall, but tripped up about a yard short. Excellent open field tackle. Jalen Stokes Those are the plays you got to make on defense sometimes. Those are drive-stopping plays.
They absolutely are, and they're that first tackler. You get the piece, and you get more than a good piece, and you put them on the ground. That can be a real defining sort of moment for a defense. Now you're talking about some really good field position for USF. Can they take advantage of it?
Atkins to receive. He's going to signal the fair catch. So they'll try to swap field position as USF and Byron Brown will try to take the field after the 50-yard punt. We check out the skinned-up knees of Byron Brown, and Randy, as you know, that won't hurt that much on the field as compared to where?
Once he gets in the shower after this game, they're going to light his world up.
Well, the reason is the Navy defense. They have bottled him up all day long. The nation's leading rusher at the quarterback position, minus 29 yards, and you see just what Navy's been able to do to keep him under duress.
Well, especially that last possession. I mean, the first possession of the second half where it was like loss, bang, immediate punt.
4 sacks for Navy today. The handoff to Joyner, dances around and finally gets tripped up by the turf monster. Gain of 6 though on first down.
That was a couple of pretty nice little jump cuts.
Go back to Joyner this time. Picks up a couple more and already 2 positive plays. The senior running back from Claremont, Florida. He's up 3rd down and short. Brown will try to move the pile.
I don't think he got it. They're going to give it to him, but I don't think he got it.
Colin Ramos making some of the initial contact, but listen, this has not been a smooth sailing game on the ground for Brown. Brown to the outside. Jaden Alexis. Brought down by Williams. So we're starting to see some of that rhythm develop for this USF offense after the 5-yard gain.
Yeah, even if it doesn't necessarily have to be a pass, this offense has the ability to really function quickly.
Now Elias Larry laying on the turf, and so we've seen a lot of players go down here today, and it's been a physical game. You have to credit Brown, a quarterback that's so used to running, having the ball in his hands, the patience he's shown in the pocket as he's gone through his progressions, I imagine.
Yeah, he really has, and you know, that's something that comes with maturity, and now that he's so much older, I mean, heck, he's 19 now.
He turned 19 yesterday.
19 yesterday.
Yesterday.
Absolutely. So yeah, and it's been fun to watch this young man just sort of progress and move.
Now the question is, did he share a cake with our producer Mike Pittman, whose birthday was today? Now I know Mike didn't turn 19 today.
Yeah. You think Mike shares much cake?
Yeah, you talk about being able to take care of possessions. That's certainly what Mike can do when he's around one of those chocolate cakes. But happy birthday, Mike. Always a pleasure working with you, my friend. We'll keep you at 27 years young year after year. 2nd and 5 for USF. Brown tunnel screen. Jaden Alexis. 2nd time in a row, and Alexis breaks free. Alexis trying to outrun Harbor, who finally trips him up. And Harbor potentially saves a touchdown, but how about the dancing by Alexis?
Yeah, Alexis, very nice move. Harbor was thinking all ball there. He was trying to chop that ball out. Didn't get it, but he got the tackle.
35-yard gain, and here's Joyner once again. It's been the 1-2 punch of Joyner and Alexis this drive as McDonald gets in on the hit.
Yeah, impressive drive here. As thwarted as they were last time they had the ball, it's been the exact opposite effect here for the USF offense.
Joyner, you see the patience before that first jump cut. Nothing going there. Picks up a 3rd down. It's another 1-yard gain. But how about Harbor saving points on the board right here?
He almost, I mean, he's going for that ball, and he just kind of got the leg as it was coming down.
So 3rd and 8. Quan Powell checks in at back.
Well within field goal range. 23-23 here with 4:42 to go in the third quarter.
Who else do you expect to see in this situation? It's been Atkins every single time they need a big play. A whistle before the snap, and that's going to be a timeout for USF. So saw something they didn't like, and go to the drawing board on this one.
South Florida. We'll take their first
Yeah,
time
Alex Golesh was screaming down the sideline,
30 seconds.
got in that official's ear just as the ball was about to be snapped to get that timeout.
Coach Golesh has a wonderful relationship with his players. You know, we were talking to him about the penalties, and he kind of rolled his eyes and said, "I'm never really worried about penalties that much, and now that I'm a head coach, I look at the penalties and, okay, a guy celebrates after scoring his first touchdown, and I'd like to say act like we've been there before, but the truth is we haven't been there before much over the last couple of years."
Yeah, and it's an interesting perspective he has, because there's almost like penalties that he's willing to put up with and he's willing to have. Now the dumb ones, the personal fouls and stuff like that, he doesn't want to see.
Might have flipped the formation because Atkins was on the near side of the field before the timeout. Now he comes to the far side of the field in that slot position. 3 receivers on the left-hand side. Brown trying to address the potential pressure.
Comes the blitz.
Here it comes. Brown has to get it out. Brown to the end zone. Catch is made. Michael Brown-Stevens, 15 yards. And the nephew of John Legend keeps this offense in rhythm as USF takes the lead.
Boy, what a throw by Byron Brown. Throws that ball up. The receiver goes and gets it. He keeps the ball. The impressive part, look at the way he keeps the ball away from the defensive back. The defensive back's trying to get in and strip the arms away. He throws that right arm in and tucks that ball away for the touchdown.
John Cannon trying to make it a 7-point lead. 8 plays, 67 yards, 247. And Randy, John Legend has a song called Ordinary People. Nothing ordinary about this play.
Oh, absolutely. Not a thing ordinary about that. Here's the matchup, top of the screen. Ball's going to get dropped right about there. Watch the job that Brown does. He gets a little rhythm going in the pocket. Little give and go there on the outside. Just buys himself just enough of a break, just enough room to get that reception.
You've seen thousands of go routes on the Y-22. You know how difficult it is to get that type of separation with off coverage in the red zone. So excellent execution for USF on a critical play.
Great job of running that route up onto the DB before you ever get that hesitation in. And and you know, you played the position. That's the hardest from a discipline standpoint, making yourself get to that guy before you make that move.
First touchdown of the season for Brown-Stevens. Farrell on the kick. Hassan to receive. He'll get a chance for this one. Couple blockers in front of him, but quickly chopped down on the stop. Let's go ahead and send you to Brent Stover for an update between Georgia and Auburn.
Yeah, the game, of course, over on CBS. Dejon Edwards going to take the toss left and take it to the end zone. 17-all, Georgia and Auburn headed to the 4th, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you so much. Things heating up in the SEC. Tightly contested one there. And
is there ever anything normal about Georgia-Auburn?
No.
Ever.
Never.
Ever, ever, ever.
Well, Georgia has looked vulnerable this year. This is not the same Georgia team we've seen over the last 2 seasons that was blowing the doors off of everybody. The pitch out. Here's Teska. Open room cut, but that is well defended in the open field. Tay Evans stopping it after a 9-yard gain.
Yeah, that is an open field tackle right there.
Armed Forces football is proudly supported by ServPro. Credit Brandon Chapman on that carry.
Well, the Navy offense definitely needs to stay on the field, keep the defense on the sideline, trying to scheme against this USF offense.
Here's Teska. upended.
Hello.
But not before he gets the first down. And who else? Day Evans getting his nose in there. Gain of 3.
Day almost put him night-night.
Incredible his performance against Alabama, Evans. National Defensive Player of the Week. That was a game that really raised the antenna to people's attention about USF and what they're able to do as far as limiting that Alabama offense.
You just love to see defensive backs that have the ability to accelerate into plays like that aren't hesitating. There's no slowdown in them.
We talked about this USF defense and tackles for loss. Emmanuel Hickman quickly snuffing out that run attempt.
And for an offense like Navy's, it's almost like a double negative. When you get either a negative play or a 0 gain, you're just not built to overcome those type of things.
Navy just 1-11 at home since 2020 when they've scored under 25 points, currently sitting at 23, 2nd and 10. Horvath back to pass. Has to get out of the pocket. Horvath eyes downfield to become a ball carrier and quickly scoots out of bounds. Gain of 4. We talked about the struggles at home here for Navy. How about the scoring since 2020? Just 19.7 points per game on their home turf. And it goes back to that quarterback discussion we had.
Yeah.
Once they feel that confidence in whoever it may be for the year to be that guy, you figure that'll help lift that offense that much more, despite how much they run it.
That said, since 2020, it could have very easily said since Malcolm Perry.
Here's Horvath. This time trying to get to the edge. Horvath. Huge gain. Jalen Stokes forces him out of bounds. First down for Navy. Finally, things opening up just a little bit more for this offense.
Watch here on the corner. If Horvath could have gotten like one more cleat into the ground, he could have made that turn and gotten things going north and south. Could have been a different play, but this is exactly what Brian Newberry wanted to have from his offense. A methodical drive. It needs to end in points. And when I say points, I mean touchdown. But it keeps the defense on the sideline, and it puts a little bit more pressure on the USF offense.
24 yards on the gain. Horvath this time flips it outside. Chapman puts his cleat in the ground, steps forward, inches closer towards the first down marker. Gain of 8. Randy, if we came into this game and I told you that Horvath was going to have 51 yards rushing and Byron Brown was going to have negative 28, I don't think you would have looked me in the eyes.
I don't believe I would have, and I wouldn't have believed you. But it's something the way this has worked out. And the other thing that's worked out is, you know, Horvath has been the more effective passer, too, between the two quarterbacks.
Horvath this time keeps it himself. Twisted forward for a short gain. Christopher Townsell in on the tackle.
I mean, so far Navy's run for 221 yards. They've passed for 22.
Going on the field as the runner was down, coming loose.
If they're looking to have a new and improved and different type of an offense, they just need more effective use out of the passing game. How about they start with, if they're wide open, you hit them.
So 3rd and 1 to start the 4th quarter. When we come back, 1-score game, Navy down 7. Let's take a look at our Pepper Fansville fan cam. And how about USF alumni Suzanne Ward? She lives in Portland, Oregon, but has attended almost every USF football game. She's only missed one due to COVID-19 restrictions. I think at this point, Randy, you got to let her call a play here or there. Let's send it down to Sheehan for more on her.
Guys, that's 313 games that she has attended. I had a chance to catch up with her. She's a diehard USF fan, loves all the athletics, but in particular football. And she says she can't wait for the day that this USF team is the premier team in the state of Florida.
That's right, Sheehan. They'll have a brand spanking new stadium in the near future to enjoy. 3rd and 1 for Navy to keep the drive alive, and the ball is loose on the ground. Oh, scooped up by USF. Tramel Logan will go the distance in an unbelievable turnaround in this game. And Suzanne Ward, the lucky charm, a 72-yard scoop and score.
Must have been the shoes, the gold kicks that Suzanne was wearing. Going on a third or a short down type of a situation, going for a sneak, and that ball got jabbed out, went straight back, and was returned immediately straight back for the touchdown.
A deflating turnover for Navy that flips the script of this game. They were knocking on the door of the red zone, and all of a sudden USF, their second longest run back of the day, as they extend their lead to 14.
Look at that thing, it gets in there. Horvath never had the ball, Jordan. He never had it. The ball was gone from the time he went to get the snap. It went straight back, and it just kept on going.
We're back here in Annapolis. Next Saturday is the Mean Green of North Texas. Visit the Midshipmen. Kickoff begins at 3:30 Eastern here on CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, I tell you, one thing's been consistent in this game, Jordan. If you make a mistake, it's going to cost you points.
Yes.
For both these teams. Ball gets on the ground, it's points the other way. And it's not eventually, it's pretty much immediate.
A fumbled handoff leads to a 70-yard scoop and score for the USF defense. They built their lead to 14. Initial play of the fourth quarter. Tyler Bradley to bring it out for Navy. Bradley full head of steam. Tackled about the 27-yard line. Well, let's take a look at some of these Navy miscues here today, Randy.
There's been a few, starting with that bad snap that resulted in a 2-point, well, I guess you'd call it 2-point conversion or 2-point try. The last play with a bad snap exchange there with the quarterback and the ball that comes just squirting out of there. That ends up being a touchdown back the other way.
So for Navy, you've got to find some momentum here on offense. That was a difficult situation to overcome. You've got Lavatai now back in the game at quarterback after Horvath, part of that fumble miscue.
You had a heck of a drive going on that last problem, and I really don't think you have much of a choice but to give Ty Lavatai a chance here after that bad snap exchange there with Horvath.
Lavatai has rushed for 2 scores that came as a result of a muffed punt and a stop on 4th down for this Navy defense. 2nd and 9. Lavatai has to just hoist it up, and nobody in that vicinity. So the pressure coming from that USF front that has just continued to impose their will here in the second half.
Yeah, it's one thing about this South Florida defense, and it's South Florida in general. This program's a sleeping giant. If Golesh can get this group where it can retain the kids in that area, if you only knew how many unbelievable football players live in the general vicinity of that Tampa, St. Pete, Orlando area, they control that area in recruiting. This program will get back to being a national force.
Lavatai trying to go to Nathan Kent, can't make the completion. That'll bring out the punt team, so a quick 3 and out for Navy.
Just sort of a quick flip there, and that ball just keeps right on going. Kent couldn't control it. It hit him kind of in the back peck as he was running through.
So Reithman to punt, Atkins to return. A chance for the USF offense here to really put this one away on this drive. So that was the 5th 3rd and out for Navy. We'll see. Byron Brown.
You always had much better hands, right?
hey, every cat tries to catch it, I'll tell you that much.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by The Exchange, welcoming home veterans to their exchange shopping benefits. By USAA, serving the military community and their families. And by Serve Pro, the #1 choice in cleanup and restoration.
Annapolis, one of the most unique destinations in all of college football. You catch it on a beautiful late September night, and I tell you what, Randy.
You mean like this?
Drink it in.
Beautiful sunset.
14-point lead for USF. It's been an efficient game through the air for Byron Brown. 18 of 25, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Brown across the middle, gets it to his tight end, and that ball comes out. And did Navy give themselves great field position? They did. So how about the defense once again, Randy, trying to set up and keep this offense afloat?
Ruling as a catch, fumble, and recovered by the defense. First down.
And the first thing you noticed was, you know, USF didn't look like it was in much of a hurry, and that is definitely a fumble. That ball was caught. He was running forward. The helmet was right on the ball, and it popped immediately out. That was a beautiful defensive play, and that is just what the doctor ordered for Navy, and it's exactly what USF did not want to see happen.
Weston Wolf was the ball carrier. It's the 3rd USF turnover, 2nd one caused by Xavier McDaniel. The pitch outside to Teska. Teska's got a hole. Teska bursting down the sideline, finally brought down. You feel the momentum start to shift here. 29-yard game for Teska.
Well, when you get these momentum swings like that, it's obviously predicated on one really important thing. You don't screw up and make any more mistakes. You've got to keep the discipline going. You've got to keep the execution going if you're the Navy offense. And if you're the USF defense right here, you need a negative play to put a little hiccup in this offense.
Fana, the quick handoff. They actually fake it to him and instead go to the outside, Brandon Chapman. So the deception did not deceive this USF defense as they bring him down for a 3-yard loss.
And that's what this defense needed. They needed Brian Newberry's offense to get behind the sticks and have to do something a little bit out of their comfort zone, because their comfort zone is Teska right or Teska left or Fofana in the middle.
2nd and 13. You see how the offense has struggled here in the second half. Navy has scored on every turnover they've forced here today. They're going to try and make it 3 in a row. And that is completely blown up by that front 7. Lavatai had nowhere to go. Will Jones, loss of 3, makes it 3rd and 16.
Hey, you talk about eye discipline and proper defense. Look at the inside of that defense. They never took their eyes off Ty Lavatai. They weren't looking at the fullback. They weren't looking at the S-back. Alex Golesh's defense was thinking Navy quarterback. They got all over him in the backfield. That's 2 negative plays in a row.
Saw Navy kick a field goal earlier, 3rd and 16. Lavatai nowhere to go, bottled up once again. Andrew Mataafa, the cousin of Hercules Mataafa, had that excellent career at Washington State, a loss of 4.
Yeah, and that's 3 negative plays in a row, so that turnover turns into about -9 yards, and suddenly you're kicking a pretty feisty little field goal at 45 yards.
Nathan Kirkwood made one from 44 earlier, this one from the same distance, except he's on the left hash. Kick is up for Kirkwood. Missed it right, so the turnover results in nothing for Navy. And USF will take control once again, nursing this 14-point lead.
And that's 1,000% a product of those negative plays. You start out 1st and 10, suddenly it's 2nd and 13, then it's 3rd and 15, then it's 4th and 18.
Rough sailing for Navy here in the 4th. Plenty to cheer about for the USF fans. Up 14, ball in their hands. 11 minutes left in this game, essentially. And how about the last 7 quarters of play for Byron Brown, the redshirt freshman quarterback? 705 yards, 74% completion percentage. Has 3 touchdowns today and 0 interceptions.
Well, you remember from earlier in the game, all that sense of urgency and the alacrity with which this offense was moving. Watch the lack of that here in the fourth quarter. They will be in no particular hurry.
Quick little throw outside. Joffrey Brown, the completion. Peel in on the coverage. Gain of 8. Handoff this time. They go to the ground, and some excellent running we've seen from all of these backs as Powell muscles it forward for the first down.
Well, it was a combination of excellent running and really bad tackling, especially the one tackle that wasn't. You get trucked like that, it's not a good sign.
11 yards on the gain. You see the pace still there. Powell trying to get to the second level, and you're starting to see a few cracks in this Navy defense after another 10-yard gain.
Yeah, I was wrong. They are just going ahead and keeping the gas down.
Brown again, outside to Brown. Dances around, and last couple of plays we have seen USF make the first man miss.
The first man is missing, and looks like a little bit of fatigue is setting in on this Navy defense. It's been on the field an awful lot.
That's a gain of 12. Brown pumps. Tough catch made in traffic by Brown. Six yards on the gain. Brown having a busy day. Came into this game with only 7 catches. Has 6 on the night. Powell, the carry. Powell with another first down.
Yeah, it looked like Larry was going to undercut that last pass, but Brown just snuck that thing underneath him.
So Brown now has 300+ passing yards for the second straight week. He had never thrown for more than 300 yards prior to Memphis. There's Brown in the air and working that right side of the field. Joffrey Brown having a career day.
Well, this young quarterback is getting the coaching he needs. He's taking advantage of it, and he's really executing just as the offense requires him to execute. It's pretty impressive to watch.
23 of 30, 310 yards, 3 touchdowns, but more importantly has completed 77% of his passes. It's really been Powell and Joffrey Brown leading the way for USF on this drive. Powell finally meeting a little bit of resistance at the line as Will Harbor limits him to a 2-yard gain.
And just to emphasize again, I know we've mentioned it a few times, but this was the country's leading rushing quarterback coming into this game, coming off an amazing game, no doubt. Threw for over 400 yards, but he ran for 82 yards and a touchdown last week against Rice. And his running has been negligible. He's gotten minus yards with all the sacks.
And that's got to be the scary thing for opposing teams, the fact that he's able to carve up a defense using his arm without even using arguably his most elite talent.
Yeah, as you saw that last stat, they're actually getting some rushing yards in this drive.
Here's Dukes dancing, and Dukes coast into the end zone, an 11-yard carry to pad the USF lead. Just a methodical, punishing drive by the Bulls here midway through the fourth quarter.
And no surprise what USF does here. They just seal things down. And, I mean, there's nowhere to go. I mean, nowhere but straight ahead for the running back to go because all the defenders are sealed inside.
Normally, you have to travel to Spain for the running of the Bulls. You're seeing that here in the fourth quarter. Kick is good. Lead is now 21. For USF in total control.
I like a little Pamplona reference.
Hey, stick around longer. You might see more like that, but here we go. USF really distancing themselves here. 7:45 left in this ball game. Momentous day today potentially for USF. Their last road win came on October 26, 2019 at East Carolina. Bulls offense ran for 347 yards, averaging almost 9 yards per carry, and cruised to a 45-20 victory. And you look at the active road losing streaks in college football, USF 8 minutes away from putting an end to that. And a win here tonight also would give USF more conference wins, Randy, than the last 3 seasons combined.
Yeah, they're darned and determined to turn things around at USF with all the new facilities, everything else they're building, including a stadium.
Here's Bradley, shakes the first tackler, trying to bounce to the outside. Bradley has a block. Nice little return for him. Coming up next, join our crew in the studio as they break down today's gameplay on Inside College Football right here on CBS Sports Network. A couple of upsets today, a couple of nail-biters across the landscape. And
Georgia Auburn would definitely qualify as an upset if it holds the other way with Auburn coming back.
32 yards on the return, and back at quarterback, Blake Horvath has been sharing the duties with Lavatai throughout the night. Horvath sets his feet, tries to go over the top, and there's the big play. Catch is made, and Navy able to connect on one, 68 yards. Eli Heidenreich with the touchdown.
Good job by Blake Horvath. He drops back, he sets his feet. He knows he's going to get smacked. He's going to take a heck of a hit, but he delivers the ball accurately in this perfect spot and gets himself a touchdown.
2 catches for 19 yards for Heidenreich coming into this one. An answer from the Navy offense. And now they're going to go for 2. Horvath will be the signal caller here. First touchdown pass of the year for Horvath. And movement on the line.
That pretty much changes your play call too in this situation on a 2-point
snap infraction. Number 65, offense, 5-yard penalty. Replay the try.
Whistled on the center, Brent Self. Offense stays on the field.
I mean, you got 7.5 minutes to go here. You're going for 2. You want to put it into 44 to 31. Now you're in a situation back as far as you are. You might as well kick the field goal.
Still makes it a 2-score game. So Kirkwood, 1 for 2 on his field goal attempts today here for the longer extra point. That is good. So a 1-play, 68-yard drive lasting 17 seconds for Navy. Randy, what'd you see here?
Well, the thing to concentrate for me is watch the blitz coming off the outside. And it's coming a long way. And they almost get there. Corner blitz, but he just didn't have enough time to get there. Receivers wide open. Coming off that again, it's that H-back position. Coming into the middle of the field, he was wide open.
So it keeps it a 2-score game. 7:28 left. Still a good amount of football left.
Plenty of time.
It's just a matter of if Navy can replicate the defense we saw in the 3rd quarter that was forcing some 3-and-outs and getting USF off the field, or if we see USF do what they did last drive, and that is just march down the field in 9 plays and over 60 yards. Kirkwood to kick.
Navy's anticipating, or USF is anticipating a little bit of a pooch or onside.
Was fair caught by Atkins, but let's go ahead and send you to Brent Stover in New York with an update on Georgia Auburn.
Yeah, guys, and after a quiet first half, Brock Bowers has exploded in the second half. 6 catches, 148 yards, and this go-ahead touchdown in the 4th quarter. Number 1 Georgia leads Auburn 27-20, a shade under 3 to play.
So a 1-score game in a dicey SEC matchup. But how about this stat here? We talked about this, Randy. Coming in, Navy's 2nd least penalized team in the nation, USF in the bottom 4. They flipped the script here today.
Yeah, we talked about Alex Golesh not really caring much about penalties. I guarantee he's going to like those numbers. Even if he doesn't care, he's going to like those numbers.
He's had an impact in this one for sure. Dukes is the back in the game. Bunch formation to the right. They fake the screen pass outside and a designed run for Brown. Just a gain of 1 though. Reed in on the stop.
Well, if you're USF right now, you want to be so uber careful with the football. If you're Navy and you're Brian Newberry, you want your guys hunting that football. Because the one thing you need right now with this situation, just about to be under 7 minutes to go, you want a turnover. You want a quick kind of a turnaround type play. Down 2 touchdowns.
Navy's forced 3 turnovers today. 2nd and 9 for Brown. Tries to get it outside, and that is deflected, so that will stop the clock and bring up 3rd and 9.
Good job on that blitz to get your arms up. You don't have to always get there and hit the quarterback. Get those arms up and affect the throw, and that affected the throw.
3rd and 9. Volume starting to rise here in this stadium. Dukes is the lone back. Trips to the far side.
Probably only going to have 4 rushers. You're going to have 7 guys dropping.
Brown has to get it out. Gets it to Atkins, but Harbor is there on the stop, and that is short of the first down marker, just a gain of 5.
That turns the ball over in pretty short order. You're getting the ball back if you're Navy.
The second time out of the half.
So Navy will call timeout, stop that clock. Now they're going to get the ball here with 6:35 down 2 scores.
Navy now has 1 timeout left. USF has 2. Very important kick here for USF. You need an effective high kick. The last thing you want is a big return giving Navy a short field.
We'll see if USF is going to punt this. It's 4th and 4. They've had some success. They're on their own 31-yard line.
I think if you go for this on 4th down, you're asking to be down up only 1 touchdown instead of 2 touchdowns.
They will certainly punt it as Andrew Stokes heads out there. Amin Hassan, we've seen him aggressive in his returns. Hassan's gonna have a chance. Flag on the play. Hassan has a couple of blockers trying to get to the edge, but brought down. I mentioned a flag early in this play near the punter.
It's going to be running into the kicker. That's a 5-yard penalty, not a personal foul.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker.
Roughing?
Defense, number 55. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Nazir Rogers, a 15-yard penalty. One more look. Just a tough one. Looks like he got pushed into him.
We got pushed into him, and the kicker's running into him.
I mean, you have to go back to that penalty graphic that we discussed. That's now the 8th penalty for Navy.
And USF with 1.
And that's a huge one. Keeps the ball in the hands of USF, and now you spend a timeout. You think you're going to have great field position. Very tough penalty for Navy. Here's Brown. First set of downs. The handoff to right. 1-7 for Navy. Continues to battle. Loss of 1. Penalties for 70 yards. Right again, the ball carrier. Brings it near midfield. 5 yards on that pickup.
Yeah, the miscues, the mistakes, that's not even counting the penalties, have been something this program normally does not see and do.
No, and they talked about getting back on rhythm, having not played in 16 days, and just trying to get into a groove, and you've seen it hasn't been that way all night long. 3rd and 6. USF certainly taking as much time as they can right now, letting that clock wind down. Shifting down to 2nd gear. Screen pass on the outside. Brown Stevens, and he's able to fight his way for a first down and a huge pickup. 10 yards.
Only thing that would have made that play better if you're USF is once you got that first down, if you'd have just immediately gone to the ground, tried not to go out of bounds.
Just over 5 minutes left. You've talked about it. You've got the fastball if you're USF. You run that tempo, you run that pace. Now you're slowing things down, realizing that you've got to be a lot more measured in what you're doing, protecting that ball.
If you can run the ball like that, it makes everything a little bit different too. You got a bull down in the field now.
Gain of 6. As you said, another player down on the field.
Officials timeout for an offensive
Lofton,
injury.
the center. I've been impressed, Randy, with the balance of this USF offense. They have really been able to go through the air and find success on big plays, but then really just churn out these drives and get some chunk yardage of 6, 8, 10, 11, and haven't had to rely on the improvisational skills of Brown with his legs.
You know, Alex Golesh, the head coach of this football team, got a lot of people's attention with that Alabama game. And, you know, I think you can say the same thing about Wyoming when they went down to Texas and stayed close and whatnot. But especially these guys, people looked at that and went, Alabama's not that bad. I mean, these guys must be all right. There must be something in Tampa going on with South Florida. And you can see from this play what they put on the field here today, there is some pretty special stuff going on.
So let's see what happened to Mike Lofton here, because we've seen a lot of the linemen fall down here in this one. One more look here, the center rolled up on again.
Yeah, it was that friendly fire coming from the backside. And I can tell you from personal experience, that scares you more often than anything else, than really hurts you. And eventually you get up and you're okay, and you know, you might have a tweaked ankle a little bit, or maybe your knee's a little bit bent, but it really can scare you bad when it happens.
Yeah, especially because you can't see it coming half the time. You're thinking of pulling or getting out of the box. And
no one likes surprises, and those are not fun surprises.
No. So USF trying to change the culture. We've mentioned their struggles over the last 4 seasons. Looking for their 3rd win of the year. And that would give them the most wins they've had in a year in the last 4 seasons, Randy. And Golesh is no stranger to coming in and turning around programs. Tight end coach at Illinois. They won 3 games when he was first there, gets them to a bowl game. Tennessee had their struggles. See what they were able to do last year.
He was at UCF for a year. That's got a tradition of winning and putting some great teams on the field. But he did not hesitate emphasizing what kind of a special area that was and what kind of a special chance this job was.
And you've talked about how USF has had a taste of it before. They were ranked as high as number 2 in 2007 when you had the revolving door of second-ranked teams in college football. And so they've been near that mountaintop before. This is a program that has seen success, and now they're going to have all the resources and the support behind it. And it feels like they've found an excellent coach in Golesh. Here is Wright, just pushing the pile continually. And these drives in the 4th quarter for USF are really trying to just put this game away.
Yeah, you know, in this day where that kind of the line is getting blurred with Group of 5 and Power 5 and whatnot, and next year we're going to be going to an extended playoff situation. Hey, there's more the merrier. It's up to you. It's what you put out there, and what kind of a program can you build? How consistent can you win? I mean, at a place like USF, you can qualify for a playoff.
And a lot of youth on this offense. Quarterback's just a redshirt freshman. 4 out of your 5 starting linemen are all going to be returning next year as Michael Brown-Stevens' busy day continues. Gain of 4, his 8th catch of the day. I think that 4th catch. And you've got your 2 best receivers coming back if you're USF. And Simmons and Atkins, they're just juniors.
And what are you going to be able to do from a transfer portal standpoint? You know, you're spending a lot of money in your program. How much more can you spend on your program on the talent side.
Depends on how many more super fans they can get to come to every game.
That's right.
I have a feeling she's been donating a little bit. And, you know, he talked about Alex Golesh recruiting in the state of Florida still and bringing in these high school players and building up in the program as Wright runs into another pile for a gain of 1. McDonald in the tackle. But that's the blueprint. There's so much talent in the backyard of USF.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that Tampa, St. Pete, Orlando area, just that corridor, there's a huge amount of talent, and that's not even talking about South Florida. Because contrary to popular opinion, Tampa isn't exactly in South Florida.
There's a couple of major cities further south I can think of. You saw that 58% of the roster from the state of Florida. You can just keep the homegrown talent. He said that we can't let other programs come into Tampa, come into our backyard and poach our talent. We have to keep these kids as they'll let the play clock wind down before calling timeout. 3rd and 5, 2:05. We step aside for a moment. USF trying to close this one out. Beautiful sunset here in Annapolis to set the backdrop for our keys to the game here, Randy. Let's revisit these.
Yeah, for USF, they've had the eye discipline. They've frustrated this Navy offense and turned them over. And for Navy, they have had time of possession, but they've also had an inordinate amount of penalties, and they've had the turnovers, which have been a huge difference.
Navy averaged 2 penalties per game. 8 here tonight. And Robinson in on the tackle, gain of 4 for Powell. Fourth and 1, and obviously you're going to keep the offense on the field just to churn more of this clock.
Oh, without a doubt.
You said it during the break. What a drive this has been to close out this game.
This is the kind of drive when you're in practice. You practice these kind of drives.
Absolutely.
And you don't usually do it in a game to pull it off. But
and off to Powell, and the second effort gets him there. That'll most likely put a cap on it. So Powell able to fight for those extra yards and keep the USF offense on the field.
Yeah, that initial push and the initial burst came on the defensive side.
Officials timeout for defensive injury.
Fortunately, we have yet another player down. It looks like Robinson.
But between the first and the second half, we have seen this a lot. I'd say maybe a dozen times between these two teams.
It's been physical at the line of scrimmage.
Very physical. And like we talked about in the production meetings the last couple of days and a little bit at the very beginning of this game, these are two programs that take a lot of pride in being physical.
They certainly do.
And take a lot of pride in being the tougher team. Well, you know, Brian Newberry has to admit himself that in this instance, the most disciplined team was USF and the tougher team was USF.
So USF well on their way to their 3rd victory of the year. It's worth repeating. Most wins in the last 4 seasons. Snaps a 19-game road losing streak. Gives them more conference wins now this season, 2, than they've had in the last 3 years combined. So the proof is right there of the Golesh effect of turning around not only this offense, but this culture. And you see it's 2nd worst in FBS over that span of 2020 to 2022.
Remember, there were more than 7 minutes in this 4th quarter left when they got this ball back. I mean, this is a heck of a drive. This is a clinic. This is the kind of drive that you clip off and you show your guys, you know, the day after the game, and you show it to them. You go, look, here's what we did. Here's what we've accomplished.
So checking out the schedule here moving forward for USF. Pick up the victory here tonight over Navy, then on the road at UAB, hosting FAU after that. 1st and 10, and Brown will just take a knee and continue to check out the schedule here. So you pick up the road win, and you've got UConn, who dropped a game today, at Memphis later on, Temple, UTSA, and then Charlotte. So seeing what we have seen now with USF, there's a chance for them to pile up some wins.
They've got a chance to have a pretty impressive record by the end of the year, coming off a season like they had last year.
So USF gets the 44-30 victory. Alex Golesh in his debut season for USF has already corrected the ship in the first road win since 2019 to snap that 19-game losing streak. And really, you're starting to see the young men for USF believe, and these coaches talked about how hard they've constantly been working. It's a wonderful feeling. Let's throw it down to Sheehan, who's here with Coach Golesh.
Coach, you're clearly building something special here, a road win, conference win. What does this mean to you guys?
I'll be honest with you. It really just means that our process was right last week. You know, and there's so much to clean up. You know, we put ourselves in a hole there early. It's been a lot to get to this in a lot of ways. And it's not that it's a conference win, road win, none of that. It's been a lot for these kids to finally feel what a road conference win feels like. And then you know what, tomorrow we got to reset and we got to go on the road again in the conference. But I'm so proud of our guys to just keep swinging and swinging and swinging and have a true next play mentality.
Congratulations. Enjoy it. Thank you.
Go Bulls.
So victory number 3. Always a wonderful tradition, the Navy alma mater. And so once again, our final score is 44-30 for Randy Cross, Sheehan, Stanwyck, Birch, and our entire crew. I'm Jordan Kent. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Now let's send it to the New York studio where Brent Stover and the crew are standing by for Inside College Football. So long from Annapolis.
Welcome inside our New York studios. Brent Stover, Danny Cannell making his last-second notes. Kevin Carter as well. 44-30. We talked about Byron Brown, Danny, and what he was able to do last week, man. Pretty impressive again today.
Yeah, at halftime I said you have one of those performances like you do last week, a record-setting performance, 500 total yards, and then all of a sudden you have this uplifting attitude, mentality, confidence, belief. Your teammates look at you differently, and he picked up right where he left off. Another strong performance today, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Really strong performance.
When you're able to not let Navy do what Navy wants to do in terms of churning up the clock and chewing up the time, eliminating time of possession, valuable time for you to score, and you're able to be the more physical team, then you get the win. USF today, you heard Randy Cross say it on the broadcast. They were tougher. They were physical. They were more mentally prepared to go the distance in this one, and they came out with a great win.
South Florida's 3-2, 2-0 in the American. Danny, a few weeks ago, they went toe-to-toe with Alabama. How good is this South Florida team?
I tell you what, they did. I was in the rain. Remember the nasty conditions? And the physicality is what's impressed me. And I think that's what you saw Coach Golesh talking about after the game. And also just the fact that now you have a really leg up in the conference, which is wide open now. Look, there was a void that was left behind when some of the teams that perennially were at the top of the conference to leave for the Big 12. This is a void that South Florida can step into without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the passing numbers in this game for Brown, I mean, Byron Brown was amazing. 338 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. To me, being able to do that coupled with how physical they were on the line of scrimmage, today is why they got this win.
Brian Newberry, first-year head coach at Navy. We knew this was going to be a building process. A 1-3 start, 0-2 to start conference play.